Most of us think we know the story of Jesus' final days pretty well. But what if I told you that hidden right inside that familiar story is this incredible historical puzzle? I mean, it's a logistical mystery that scholars have been arguing about for centuries. And really, the entire problem boils down to this one question. According to tradition, between his arrest late on a Thursday night and his crucifixion Friday morning, Jesus was put through this non-stop series of legal hearings. But seriously, could all of that have really happened that fast?
Okay, just look at this list. We're not talking about 1 or 2 hearings. We're talking 6 distinct legal proceedings. First, a preliminary interrogation with the former high priest, Annas. Then he's hauled before the current high priest, Caiaphas, for a night session, followed by a dawn meeting with the full Jewish council, the Sanhedrin. From there, it's off to a Roman trial before Pilate, then a quick side trip to Herod Antipas, and finally, all the way back to Pilate for the final verdict. It's a complete legal marathon.
And this is where you really see how unbelievably compressed that marathon was. The arrest happens around 11 p.m. By 12:30 a.m., he's already before Caiaphas. A few hours later, at the crack of dawn, the Sanhedrin rubber stamps the verdict. By 6:30 in the morning, he's in front of the Roman governor, Pilate. An hour later, he's sent to Herod. And an hour after that, he's back with Pilate. There is literally no downtime here. None. Now, on top of all the legal stuff, there's the physical journey. Jesus was marched a total of 2 to 3 miles through Jerusalem. And listen, this wasn't some flat, easy walk. It meant being dragged up and down steep stone staircases, out of deep valleys, through the city's narrow, dark streets, all while he's bound, and after a completely sleepless night. So this is where the timeline really starts to strain credibility. Beyond just the insane travel time, there were some serious legal problems. Jewish law, as it was later codified, explicitly forbade capital trials at night. And on top of that, a guilty verdict couldn't be reached on the same day. It required a full night for deliberation. The traditional timeline basically suggests the authorities just broke every rule in the book.
As one source puts it, for all of this to happen in one night, the Jewish and Roman authorities would have needed to operate with the logistical precision of a Formula One pit crew. It just seems almost impossibly efficient, doesn't it?
So, how do we solve this? Well, the central clue to this whole mystery might just be hiding in plain sight, right there in the Gospels themselves. Because as it turns out, their clocks and calendars, they don't all seem to agree. And right here we see the core contradiction. The Synoptic Gospels, that's Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they present the Last Supper as the official Passover Seder, the ritual meal commemorating the Exodus. But the Gospel of John, it explicitly states the Last Supper happened before Passover, even noting that the Jewish leaders needed to remain ritually pure to eat their Seder meal on Friday. This single discrepancy opens up 2 very different possibilities.
All right, let's first look at the traditional case. This is the one that sticks with the Thursday arrest and just accepts the chaotic, high-speed timeline.
In this view, the chaos wasn't an accident. It was the entire point. This wasn't a formal legal trial. You could almost call it a legal kidnapping. The idea is that the authorities were panicked, and they were just railroading Jesus through the system to get him on a cross before the city fully woke up and the holiday crowds could potentially riot. The illegality was the strategy.
But there's an alternate theory, and it proposes a much simpler solution to the whole timeline problem. What if the arrest didn't happen on Thursday at all?
This is the Tuesday arrest theory. It suggests that if Jesus and his disciples were using a different calendar, like when they found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Last Supper could have been on a Tuesday. This would give the authorities a full 3 days for an orderly legal process, which completely eliminates that impossible overnight marathon. It just gives the whole story some crucial breathing room.
And this really shows you the trade-offs. The traditional Thursday timeline is urgent and chaotic, emphasizing the drama of betrayal in the hour of darkness. The extended Tuesday timeline is methodical and legally sound, and it solves the calendar puzzle. And here's the thing. Both theories actually have historical support, from early church traditions to other ancient texts.
But this debate is about so much more than just logistics and calendars. That timing discrepancy we saw in the Gospels, especially in the Gospel of John, it might not be a historical error. It might actually be a deliberate theological masterpiece.
It's a fair question, right? If the events happened one way, why would a writer intentionally shift the clock? Well, the answer reveals this incredibly powerful layer of symbolism.
For the author of John's Gospel, the exact timing of Jesus' death wasn't just some detail. It was the entire message.
It really seems like he rearranged the whole timeline just to make a profound theological point.
And here it is. This is the payoff. In John's timeline, Jesus is crucified on Friday afternoon, at the exact same hour that the Passover lambs were being slaughtered in the temple for the Seder meal that evening. The parallel is just stunning and completely deliberate.
By shifting the timeline, John makes this incredibly powerful theological statement. In his telling, Jesus doesn't just eat the Passover meal, he becomes the Passover meal. He is the Lamb of God, the ultimate sacrifice, whose death aligns perfectly with the old ritual he is now replacing.
So ultimately, solving this puzzle isn't really about finding a single correct timeline. The value is in understanding the debate itself, seeing how a logistical problem can actually reveal deep historical tensions and profound theological creativity within these ancient texts. So that leaves us with the final question to chew on. Was this impossible timeline a messy historical glitch, something born from chaos and conflicting calendars? Or was it an intentional theological masterpiece, crafted to convey a deeper truth? It's a puzzle that continues to fascinate, even centuries later.